Welcome to Sports CTO Talks. In this episode, we will talk about the future of golf, technology, and manufacturing, how innovation, equipment, and strategic partnerships are changing the game. In this series, we would be connecting with industry leaders from the sports and technology world. I am Ami, your guide on this journey through amazing mind of sports and technology leaders. We will dive deep into discussions and innovations driving the industry, from AI to cloud, from cybersecurity to sustainability. If it is sports tech, we are talking about it. Today, we are joined by Tony Duran, a seasoned golf industry professional and the CEO of Duran Group and CEO of Wise Owl Robotics, where he has been leading the business since 1991, bringing more than 35 years of experience across golf sales, manufacturing relationships, business development, mentorship, and industry networking. Tony is also the co-founder of Golf Rep, a platform focused on bringing golf industry professionals together through structured learning, mentorship, and meaningful networking opportunities. Through this work, he is helping emerging golf sales professionals build stronger skills, gain industry insights and guidance, and connect with the right people in the golf ecosystem. We welcome you, Tony, to the podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to join you and looking forward to this opportunity to have this discussion.
Absolutely. So, Tony, my first question is, with immense experience, like, more than 3, 4 decades of experience into the golf industry, what core problems have you seen in professionals? Like, how professionals learn, grow, build long-term careers in golf sales. Why do you think that the industry needs a more structured approach, instead of relying only on the traditional networking, referrals, or the informal mentorship?
Well, we're really moving into a crisis situation with the aging population especially in the independent sales side of the golf industry. The majority of the independent sales reps are, frankly, my age and older, which means they're not far from retirement. And unfortunately, at this point, we don't have a younger generation that's really set on this pathway to replace those that are going to retire or move on. And and consequently, companies are getting more and more desperate every week, every year, really, to acquire solid sales professionals.
Okay. So, like, when I talk about golf sales, has historically been, learned through experience, relationships, and trial and error. So, how would you define from your experience the structured learning for golf sales professionals, and why is the structure becoming more and more important in today's market?
Sure. Yeah, relationships still very much drive the golf industry. Being a cottage industry, we're very close knit in that regard. So, however, there definitely is a structure needed to develop the practical experience that's needed for somebody to elevate themselves to a level to where they can reach the income, frankly, level that they need to sustain a business. Because the pathway to starting a business is very challenging for young people in particular. It involves being on a commission basis and paying your own expenses with the majority of the opportunities in the golf industry. And consequently, the average person cannot finance that part of it, the starting part. So finding a hybrid solution is what we're focused on at this point. And there are some good structures.
when we talk about mentorship, because even that plays a very important role into this industry. So mentorship can play, the role when new professionals understand the golf business. What qualities makes someone a strong mentor into this industry, and how can mentorship move beyond, just advice to create real professional players or real growth?
Yeah, the best mentors have high diversity in their experience. They come from different parts of the industry because they are very much interrelated. Many of those in the manufacturer segment, for example, have started at the golf course level of the industry. They worked at a golf facility, a pro shop, perhaps even on the maintenance crew, or even as a range picker, where I started my career early in their career, and then eventually moved into other segments of the industry that were correlated to the golf market.
So, like, there are manufacturers and established leaders, often they play a major role basically in shaping the opportunity of the industry. So, how can emerging professionals earn the trust with these stakeholders, position themselves, as credible long-term partners? And is it happening, or is it difficult in today's time?
Well, it is difficult. However, I think there's more access now than ever. Certainly, some of the business sales tools, LinkedIn, for example, trade shows, um, those types of resources. And I also think being an advocate, being a sincere product advocate of the company, that you become one of their fans, and as a result of your advocacy of their company, their product, maybe you get your foot in their door and speaking with one of their staff members, develop camaraderie, eventually maybe perhaps get your foot in the door with as far as an interview with that particular brand or company that you love.
So, how has the sales role evolved over the years into the golf industry?
Well, it's really evolved from at one point being a very small industry in the 1970s, for example, to where it was, in fact, highly, very male industry. I won't sugarcoat it, but that's the way it was, and it has transitioned and changed. Frankly, and it grew and diversified considerably in the 1980s. And from a sales standpoint, inside sales, the use of telesales has grown extremely fast in golf because of the market fragmentation with golf courses spread throughout the United States and the difficulty of reaching all of those in the field by travel. Many companies nowadays use a combination of inside sales and outside sales. We refer to that as dual sales, and that is the most efficient way of selling the market.
So, like, do you think that today's representatives need to act not only as product sellers, but also as educators, consultants, relationship managers, and they need to know the market today?
Absolutely. Yeah, they really do need to be an expert in not only in their category, and perhaps if they're an independent rep, they may have multiple categories that they have to be experts in. They may have apparel, they may have equipment, they might have accessory items that they have to be experts on. So but they need to be a good resource too for trends and ideas and thoughts. And I can think of my days when I was an independent. I was always looking to see what's hot and what's making a move in the marketplace. And commonly, it was not a line I represented or sold, but I would talk to my customer about because I just wanted them. I'd share information to them, and they'd share information back to me, and that really bonded our relationship in new ways.
Okay. So like golf manufacturing often, focuses on performance innovation better than materials, longer distance, more forgiveness, the improved fitting. But from your experience, what truly makes golf a product successful in the market beyond just technology?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, because product design limitations now, are really tight to the level that there's not a huge differentiation, frankly, in equipment. If it's a high quality product, there's not a huge differentiation between one manufacturer or the other. It's more about branding, and then it's marketing, and a lot of smoke and mirrors. And I love the saying that golfers really don't buy equipment, they buy hope. And that's really what manufacturers have to sell nowadays because there isn't much differentiation. Companies who are making products now that fit the masses, though, that the average golfer can thrive with, are the ones that are growing now, and not the ones that are designing clubs for tour players, but the ones that are driving companies like Performance Golf, for example, who's sold massive numbers of clubs and units and their products work for everyday golfers.
So, like, do you see that manufacturers build stronger relationships with sales professional instead of, seeing them only as distribution channels? And if that is the case, what does a healthy manufacturer rep relationship look like when both sides are focused on long-term growth?
Yes, definitely so. I mean, grassroots is really what needs to happen when you're building a market, and that's the most difficult time, frankly, for a representative when you're introducing or pioneering something that is new in a marketplace. Getting the word out is very challenging, and frankly, you spend a lot of time, a lot of money, and there's not a huge reward at that point. Much of what you're making, you're putting back into your expenses. Over time, though, that starts to change and it grows, and your income grows based on your accounts in that respective territory, and then things can really shift at that point. And I think it's really important that companies understand that the pain that it took to get to that point, and so, frankly, when representatives start to make good money and a lot of money, that's a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing. And I think the mistake companies have made is looking at it and making cuts to representatives who truly have earned that reward.
Tony, if you could just share an example of sales and marketing back then when you started, or in your initial few years, and what has drastically changed today.
Well, certainly, the internet and e-commerce and digital marketing has really changed. We didn't have that in years ago. It used to be off course and on course is where the battle was, meaning brick and mortar stores versus golf pro shops on the golf courses. So they were the competition. But as the internet grew and there became even golf retailers who sold online exclusively, the market shifted, and it's still significant in terms of golf store specialty stores. When we have some large chains, there still is some categories such as apparel, where the golf course market is still very lucrative. But overall, it's really changed, and the marketing side of things is what's changing the fastest right now, and that's as a result of influencers. It seems that digital marketing or even email marketing, some of those methods that have been successful over the last decade are starting to wane in terms of performance. And what we're seeing is digital um, online marketing. As that starts to dissipate, we're seeing the influencers who have huge following being able to move the needle in new ways that we've never seen before. And so there is certainly new things happening in the world of golf as well.
Okay. So like, are there golf players, trying on things after looking on YouTube, or you said social media, or, online, or following the influencers? Has that affected the playing of the golf or the sales of the golf? Or, how, like, has it disrupted the market yet or not?
Just starting to.
Okay.
We're seeing some of it from the tour players. We're seeing actually more of it from um, proficient players who are not necessarily on the LPGA or PGA tour. They're at that level above or aspiring to be. Um, and many of them are younger age, frankly, that are developing these large followings and groups and so on. And others have their own personality that really attracts a huge following, and they do, some of them are funny and crazy, or just, in their own way. They have ways of drawing a crowd, and they certainly have value in marketing.
Okay. Like, when we talk about golf equipment, it is becoming more advanced and data driven, especially with the launch monitors, the custom fittings, the performance analytics. So, how important is the product education in helping the sales professionals explain the complex equipment technology in a simple and trustworthy way?
Yes, well, it's very important nowadays. Data is really um, available now that we never had previously, and the ability for a club fitter to achieve the optimum, fit, the optimum recommendation for a golfer, that individual golfer is certainly there. So there's no reason they can't utilize that technologies. And nowadays, I think golfers are expecting that. So it's becoming more important, and the cost of the equipment seems to be coming down. There's more varieties of different ways of doing similar things. So I think there could be other solutions that are not necessarily high dollar solutions for only certain types of facilities.
Okay. And with your experience, sales can be a very difficult, career path, even today. And especially when we talk about young professionals trying to build credibility or relationships into the golf industry. How can this industry improve retention? And do you think that golf has a unique challenge when it comes to keeping new sales reps or new sales talent engaged for long term?
Yes, it is. As I mentioned at the beginning, it is a crisis situation we
Hmm.
encountered with right now, and certainly we want to retain those that are seeking this career path and not let other industries steal them from us, which has happened, certainly has happened, and um, it's becoming a situation where we need to allow individuals to progressively move into a place where they can sustain out there because frankly the option of becoming an independent on your own with paying your own expenses and so on is just too big of a leap. It's too wide of a jump for somebody that's getting their career going in golf. And even if whether they've been working in a pro shop making an hourly wage or whether they're involved in a different type of salary type position. It's just so hard for them to jump and with that leap of faith and we just need to have the bridge, frankly. And the some of the best solutions we're seeing are constructed pods, groups of companies that have similarities, complementary aspects, similar markets, similar customer base, and also are willing to share some of the initial expenses. So they contribute a monthly amount every month for the first few months of a new representative to get them up on their feet and get them up and going. And that seems to have a lot of favorability for both the company and those individuals as well.
Like recently, there is a study by National Golf Foundation data which shows that 48 million Americans participated in golf in 2025. So, from your perspective, what does this participation growth tell us about the future of the golf industry? Like how should manufacturers, the sales professionals, the industry partners adapt to or serve the wider audience at a large?
Yeah, the industry sure is changing, and yet participation is solid. And what you're speaking of are traditional type golf rounds too. Um, Beyond that, there's a whole new segment that's related to golf that certainly it's not a traditional golf round, but it's playing the sport, and we're seeing it with simulation, we're seeing it with Top Golf. There's new
Hmm.
type facilities that are popping up now. Some of them are very, very large facilities. Some of them are very small solutions. But what they're doing is really diversifying the access to play golf in different ways, in new ways, and we're kind of taking a playbook from Asia. Frankly, in Asia, most of the golfers play indoor golf more often than they
Hmm.
do outdoor golf.
Okay.
And here, yeah, here in the United States, I wasn't sure that was going to happen because we have good weather in a lot of areas. But
Yes.
certainly, the northern areas, it made a lot of sense to have indoor golf. However, as it turns out, they're all over the country, northern and southern locations, indoor golf and simulation and new ways of enjoying the sport are popping up. And I think that overall is a good sign for the business of golf.
Okay. And there is another, like, the global golf equipment market was estimated around, USD 8.5 billion in 2025 and is projected to reach USD 13 billion by 2033, showing a steady growth driven by rising participation, golf tourism, product innovation, lifestyle adoption, multiple things. So, where do you see the biggest growth opportunity for the industry? Like, is it custom fitting or beginner friendly products or digital commerce? Or, what is going to grow from today to 2033?
The golf course itself actually. is where I see the greatest opportunity for us to transition and make huge strides in terms of positive changes. And the use of technology, particularly robotics, artificial intelligence, software ecosystems, those are areas that we're seeing um, huge potential and enough. And one of the reasons we formed Golf Bot, which is Wise Owl Incorporated, is really to develop a robotic solution for the golf industry with robotic mowers, robotic range pickers, um, robotic drones, um, and also an ecosystem as well that would allow golf courses to have a dashboard for all technologies so that they don't have different islands of technologies that they have to operate because that's going to make it more complicated for a golf course operator. So our goal is to simplify the life of a golf course operator, to reduce costs and to add value and add more entertainment to the driving range facility in particular.
Like when you're talking
Yes.
about technology, how do you think that the industry can embrace the digital tools without losing the trust and the personal relationships that have always been the center of the golf industry?
Right. Yeah, they really need to be used in conjunction with those resources as well. For example, artificial intelligence it can be a great tool for the golf industry. On certain sides of the market, for example, on the instructor side, I think it can enhance an instructor's ability with students and in several different ways, but it doesn't take the instructor out. And I think that's the important thing that we need to keep in mind is that those that embrace new technologies like artificial intelligence will be the leaders of the future, and they'll be at an advantage over those that don't. And I think that's the important message is that we all need to adapt to change and it's not really about replacing humans. I think it's enabling humans to do more.
Absolutely. So, like looking ahead, what type of strategic partnerships do you believe will shape the next decade of golf? And will the biggest opportunities come from equipment innovations, technology platforms, education networks, digital commerce, or anything? Like what do you feel being into the industry from such a long time?
Yeah, strategic alliances are no question going to be more crucial than ever. And as we discussed previously, the challenges with sales representation and developing new reps and so forth, for 90% or more of the companies in golf, that will be the issue. And having strategic relationships, alliances with companies that can help you propel together and jointly is going to be a key. And I believe those types of alliances we call pods will form naturally and organically, but also intentionally. We're building some intentionally right now, and those opportunities will create a pathway for future representatives to thrive in the industry.
Tony, I have a few questions, but I will ask you one last question. Like from your
Sure.
experience, like if you could give us three quick learnings or that these are the must things you need to do into the industry to survive, to grow, to learn, unlearn, just three things for all the young people getting into the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing is you've got to take chances. You got to be brave and reach out and to people. Networking is so important nowadays, um, and finding mutual contacts. Being able to link in somebody, and maybe using LinkedIn could be that pathway, or using a mutual friend in the business or in the industry is very helpful. So that if there's that commonality, and then don't look at rejection as final. Continue to stay in touch with that individual in that company. Spread your wings and talk to multiple companies. Um, and don't get discouraged, because sometimes it takes time, but persistence will pay off.
True, true. That is a very important thing. We'll move on to the next segment. That's the rapid fire round. I'll ask you a few questions and you'll have to be quick in answering. It can be one word or maximum one sentence.
Okay.
Who is your favorite golfer of all time?
Okay. Jack Nicklaus.
If you could play one round with any golfer, past or present, who would it be?
Tiger Woods.
What is one golf moment you will never forget?
I was playing on the LPGA tour, and I duck hooked it into the crowd and knocked a lady out.
Okay. Which is one skill every golf sales professional must learn?
A sales skill?
Sales professional should learn.
Oh, relationship building.
Absolutely. Traditional retail or digital first selling, which has a stronger future?
Combined, both.
Okay. Other than golf, who is your favorite player?
Other than golf. Um, you mean like music, or
Anyone? No, no, sports player.
a sports player? Well, Fernando Valenzuela was. I'm a Dodger fan, so I'd say Fernando.
Okay. We'll move on to the next segment, Tony. That's you will have to answer one question into 30 seconds. Like, what is the role of AI in the future of golf and manufacturing?
It's a conduit to a continued improvement of our resources, and we should not be afraid of it.
Thank you, Tony, for sharing wonderful insights today and joining us on the podcast.
No problem. Glad to join you.
So, everyone, let's stay connected for more understanding on sports and technology in the future. And if you are building something in sports and technology, you want to explore ideas, strategies, technology support, please feel free to comment in the section and to reach out to Tony or me. That was Tony sharing his experience. Thanks for tuning in. Please share this episode with all the people who love sports and technology. We will meet in the next episode next week. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep exploring.